I'm Jonah Comstock, editor-in-chief of pharmaphorum. Clinical research is full of challenges, from recruitment to data management to global resourcing, and more. Luckily, sponsors don't have to go it alone. Working with a functional service provider can be a great option for meeting these needs. In this interview, brought to you by Advanced Clinical, I'm joined by Advanced Clinical Program Directors Lori Fletcher and Amber Beimer to talk to me a little more about the world of the FSPs. First of all, if the two of you want to just kind of introduce yourselves and tell us a little bit about the work that you do, it'd be a great place to start.
Thank you. And thank you for having us on this forum. I think it's a great opportunity for us to speak a little bit more about our knowledge. And so, a little bit about me. I've worked in clinical trials for the past 25 years in various capacities. I started out as a CRA, worked my way up through various levels of management, switched over to operations management, working on global studies and also with CROs and FSPs. And currently, I'm a program director of FSP with Advanced Clinical for 3 years, where I have managed 2 different FSPs and various therapeutic solutions and service offerings across multi-therapeutic areas.
Right, thank you, Jonah. I appreciate the opportunity as well. I'm Amber Beimer, Program Director of FSP with Advanced Clinical. I've been here for 3 years and supporting with this role for the last 2. With that, I provide oversight of our FSP programs that specialize in oncology and neuroscience, both with big pieces of functional management, also managing large teams across the FSPs. I've been in the industry for 18 years, with about 15 years of that being FSP support, working alongside the teams as an FSP member. So very embedded in that FSP model. Also within my experience, most of those roles were with clinical operations and within management as well.
So what is an FSP? What's a functional service provider, and why are they getting to be more important right now when it comes to the world of clinical research?
So that's a very great question. And a lot of people are very surprised whenever we tell them what we do. And they, even if they're in research and have been in this industry for a while, it's still a new concept for a lot of people. Just to sum it up, it's really just that it's not a one size fits all model. We can adapt to specific needs for our clients. And that's where that functional service provider kind of stems from. So with that, it's really just the overall delivery on tailored, flexible, and customized solutions.
Laura, do you want to add anything?
Yeah, just a little bit to add to that also. An FSP is a partnership. And so we are a partner with the client and we work together to help them oversee and execute their clinical studies in whatever capacity that may be. And part of being in that partnership is that we're dedicated specifically to that one client. And there's definitely advantages and benefits there. Some efficiencies that are seen not only in resourcing, but also standardization in processes, how we do everything day to day. And then that very important oversight component that our client sponsor would have for clinical trials.
So not all FSPs are created equal. And I know that, one of the things you all are really focused on is sort of flexibility and customizability of FSPs. So tell me, like, how do you accomplish that, and what does that look like?
So being flexible and being able to customize an FSP, that is the heart of what we're doing. So customizing resource delivery and some of the service offerings that we have, I know definitely at Advanced Clinical, but I'm sure other FSPs at other companies feel the same, but we pride ourselves and strive towards white glove customer service. We definitely want to give a responsive, quick turnaround to our client, be the single point of contact for all of their needs within that FSP partnership. And we also offer a very proactive gap and risk assessment, and we propose solutions. Getting back to the part where you asked about customization, we propose solutions according to whatever their needs are. And so there's definitely an FSP is also helping the client to think forward. What is the vision and forward thinking? What direction do we want to go? How do we want to expand? Or maybe they don't want to expand. They just want some expertise. And so one of the beauty and benefits of an FSP as well is we can help build out departments and plug in functional managers to help customize the needs of the client. We definitely have collaborative work streams. We have experience doing this, and so we know what it takes and what it's involved to build that infrastructure. Also, we can assist with SOP and process development and also aligning on roles and responsibilities. It doesn't just have to be what you're already aware of. It's what would you like to change about it, improve about it. Again, it's that forward thinking. There's also a lot of flexibility. You can choose to utilize the client's processes and systems and equipment, or you can choose to use our equipment provisioning, our SOPs, and our training. We also have quality teams and oversight. So it's an extension of services, if you will, that we can offer. We also can fill in gaps and augment areas where a client may not have capacity or can't currently support, right? And so again, it's getting back to that customized solution. So geographical region, right? Maybe you have a strong presence in Europe and a strong presence in the US, but you'd like to expand into China, or you would like to go into Asia Pacific and not just Australia, but also into Japan and, some of those smaller countries, Taiwan, Singapore. So geography is an important consideration for customization. Also, are you looking for temporary support, potentially with resources or even other solutions in the FSP, or long-term support, right? So we've got that capability. Also, we have different levels of expertise, not only with monitoring in an FSP, but regulatory submissions, data management, biostats, site payments. And we can even help you qualify your vendors by doing vendor selection and vendor audits, safety oversight. So there's a lot of things that we can customize, including training and even financial structure and billing. So I think there's not one way to do it. There's several ways to do it. And so I think, in being able to customize the options, again, is just to really reiterate, it's like a high scale buffet. Basically, you're going to pick what you like, and we can change it, we can add to it, or really zone in on what you need.
Amber, how else can FSPs bring efficiency beyond flexibility?
I mean, Lori definitely covered a lot of that, but just really summing up is being flexible for our clients and what do they need. We act as consultants a lot to problem solve, to really work with them alongside it to solutions. So really, most of that is just listening. They might not think that they have anything that needs to be solved, but to get in there and, well, have you thought of this? Have you thought of that? Can we do this? Again, like a lot of these, you can go very many different ways. We can be as functional and embedded into the client and providing that support where we really are functioning as the client, or just even finding them those very specific niche roles, very therapeutically aligned, those things that are a little bit more difficult to find, what we call more of a unicorn. We use our resourcing strategy to go find those people for them, and we know their culture fit. We know those things that really work to get in there and act as the client. So we help them to do that. We help them to expand their footprint. And a lot of this is really just taking those behind the scenes things off of the client so that they can shift their focus onto the day-to-day, to the deliverables. What is that pipeline? What are those things that they need to be spending their very deliberate decision making and their strategy on, where we can help and take some of that support. We also have even looked at where can we deconstruct job descriptions, and where there might be this very high level role where we can help to do cost efficiencies and offshore, or to create a lower level position for them and to help do that. There's also a big emphasis on where in the past there was a very fine line and there was a term limit you might describe for this type of function. There's really not that anymore. So these teams that we're building out are there for the client specifically. And we pretty much consider these resources indefinite. So it is a very, just an extension of the client team.
Are there any other ways that FSPs can bring new efficiencies for companies you work with?
Yes, that's a great question. With the just going beyond where we can build the efficiencies, there's the big cost efficiency that's seen, and a big reason why a lot of clients will want to go through FSP. There's the stability and predictability, which also reduces the number of change orders, and adding to that with operational efficiencies. There's a lot of times now we hear the buzz about going to offshore positions and going into lower cost countries. So we have that ability because of the global scalability that we see. We understand the cultural fits. We have offices there. We're able to scale up and down as we need to add those positions. Within that, we also have our resourcing efficiencies. We have a very great resourcing engine, and we can just really use them to help get those niche roles, those therapeutically aligned roles that I already mentioned, but just to really go get them for us and to help us. It's not Lori and me that just goes and has to find these people. We have a very robust resourcing engine that helps support that.
So what about sort of you mentioned earlier that you want to be very bespoke and you want to be very you kind of want to anticipate client needs, but on the other hand there are certainly sponsors who are really concerned about oversight, about control. So how do you make that balance between sort of taking things on for them but making sure they still feel like they're in control?
Well, so definitely control, in my opinion, is also equivalent to oversight, right? I mean, control and oversight together. So oversight by a client is an ultimate responsibility and accountability that they have to provide to ensure and demonstrate that they are following ICH and GCP guidelines and all regulations, ensure safety and welfare of all patients who are in the clinical trials, and also ensuring a high quality of work, right? So, client oversight is very much a part of the FSP model because we're a partnership. It's not just completely delegating some things. It's definitely they are a part of the oversight and a part of the voice. And so, whereas there's some flexibility there, because again, we're augmenting their services and acting with them as a partner, but where's the flexibility in that piece? How much oversight are they delegating? How much is us doing it together, right? And so the client does have a voice. They can have as little or as much input into development of the FSP and even the ongoing status. There's flexibility with the client's time and focus as well. Being a little flexible and being a partner with us allows the client to focus on their core business and internal processes, where maybe we're just taking parts and pieces where we can help with resource management and performance management of the FSP overall. And then also we can help them with evaluating strategy and risk mitigation. That's very important to oversight. And so it's not just they're backing out of it, it's we're sort of doing it together and we're augmenting certain parts with our expertise, right? And I do have one minor example also, and a little more granular about how we do oversight in certain FSPs. So we'll take the monitoring FSP, for example. A client that I am working with has two different oversight models. So again, getting back to the customization and you can, split the oversight and be flexible. Here's an example of that. So in a monitoring FSP, we're sending monitors out on these sites to evaluate the data, work with the investigator, all the things that they do. We have line managers who also go on site with those monitors to observe the conduct of what's going on in that on-site visit, right? And so those line managers have been trained and they have all the experience in order to do that. But a second way, again, we have both models on an FSP that I'm working on. There's an oversight. It's an oversight FSP where we're specifically hiring staff who go out on visits behind a monitor and remonitor what they've done in order to execute oversight. And so this client wants flexibility to have a line manager going out or having an oversight FSP that was built specifically for oversight purposes. So again, it's very flexible. We're a partner. We have two or three different options. There's not a one size fits all.
And oversight's even sort of built into the flexibility.
Yeah.
So, what are some tips or best practices that you'd offer to anyone who's trying to set up their own FSP model or a hybrid outsourcing strategy?
So I think I'll take the first part of this one, Amber, and then you can finish up. I think a client needs to first determine what are their current capabilities, right? What services do they have? Where does their expertise lie? And maybe it's not even expertise and services, maybe it's bandwidth and people, right? So know what are your current capabilities? What are your current needs and gaps? And then again, what is your short term vision versus your long-term vision, because oftentimes those can be very different, right? And then also I would recommend anyone who would maybe be considering an FSP model is to review the descriptions of FSP services, because again, those are customized to client needs. But also, as Amber mentioned earlier, we really talk with the client and dig in to see what is their why, and then maybe what is the scope of what they would like it to be? What is the challenge that they want us to help them solve? And then we can either help them to build a solution or even build it for them.
Yeah, I don't have a lot to add to that, but just to really show our clients, if somebody came to us that was maybe just a little bit interested and wanted to hear more, is just what is it you're looking for, making sure they fully understand what FSPs are. It's not just staffing people that we can, they're not contract workers. We're not just getting these people on for a short time, pulling them off. They're people that are truly embedded, functioning alongside you, and they are an investment for your company and to meet your business needs, get to your deliverables, your meet your milestones. So really just looking at that and then really acting as that consultant on, have you thought about using this as part of your strategy, and helping them build out that strategy from the beginning. So I think number one is just the true understanding of what is FSP, because there's a lot of different components. There's a lot of things that I think even some of our clients don't fully utilize just our full breadth of offerings, because we have so many different things that we can add if needed and wanted. So just really partnering together is key.
Lori, earlier you mentioned global reach and how FSPs can help sponsors get into different regions and really expand their research operations in that way. What are some of the important considerations there about global resourcing, and what are some ways that FSP models can foster global reach?
Well, I think for sure with an FSP, one of the advantages is you have teams and resources that are fully dedicated exclusively to one client. So they're not working across three different studies by three different clients who have totally different SOPs, totally different processes and ways of working. And so I definitely think it's a benefit that our resources are dedicated to one study. That definitely supports global reach and global support. Also, there's more awareness of the true utilization of resources with an FSP, because we can see across all those studies and we can see what's going on globally, right? Because we're managing potentially all three of those studies. So you can see true utilization, and it's very much easier to shift if a study, maybe a study needs to expand or we need more sites. It's easier to have a SWOT approach when we have those resources globally. For instance, in Europe, there's some smaller countries. There is opportunity there to send some of our resources in one country to another. Not always. Definitely in North America, you can do that as well, right? Between Mexico, the US, and Canada. And so, again, I think it's just being dedicated to one client. We can definitely make sure that those resources are utilized as effectively as possible for global reach.
Anything to add, Amber?
Yeah, just with that, just highlighting the cultural fit, because there are the cultural components where you talk about going across different countries, but also realizing what your client's cultural fit is as well. So just looking at all those components together, but being able to scale up based off of where the resourcing needs are globally.
Absolutely. So as we kind of come to the end here, any final thoughts or takeaways? Anything you want to highlight, especially for sponsors who are maybe considering a hybrid model or utilizing an FSP for their next trial?
I think the big takeaway for me, again, is just personalized service, right? And all that that includes and encompasses, being dedicated. I feel like I'm the right hand of my client and the main point of contact. So I've built that trust and collaboration. And if I know what you're doing in one area, I can definitely help you assess risk and solutions in other areas. So I think that that's definitely beneficial. And my goal is always to strive to provide white glove customer service, and being dedicated to them is part of that.
Amber?
Yes, additionally, I would say just, we are just that extension and to be able to get those resources, to be able to deploy quickly, build those efficiencies for our clients, that really just building out what our client wants when they need it, how they need it, just really looking for that customization and allowing them to take that focus elsewhere.
Well, thank you both so much for joining me. This has been really interesting. I've certainly learned a lot, and I hope that our viewers have as well.
Thank you.
Thank you, Jonah.